Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Al-Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to the whole full elect. This is Payal of the Germans London camp, and this is news and prophecy, prophecy and news. I have an article here from Zero Hedge, and the title reads, Yellen sets the stage for higher corporate taxes, yield curve control, and a digital dollar. Alright, so I'm going to delve into this. I believe this was at the G7. I haven't read the article, I just pulled it up because the title of it looked interesting. So I set it aside to read. And yeah, this is something they've been harping on for a moment. Alright, even with, what's this other guy, Tony Blair, Klaus Schwab, various people within that have some pulling power in the financial industry and corporate world, etc., etc. So I'm gonna go into this, and Lord willing, you be edified. So it says in comments made on Monday morning, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen set the stage for several exciting new initiatives, including a higher corporate tax, potentially higher capital gains taxes, yield curve control, and the digital dollar. All right, and that's really the reason why I'm doing this video, because of the digital dollar. All right, Apostle Tahar highlighted the bro's video. We delved into this article, Cash in Hand, where basically from Computer Weekly a couple of years ago, I'm not sure if this is the same article, but I believe it is. My concentration levels now, right at this moment, are not the greatest, if I'll be honest. Apologies, but I believe it is. But it's still edifying nonetheless. I'm pretty sure it is actually. It's the reason why I say that. Postar spoke about, in his video, basically spoke about the fact that 3 months ago, Bitcoin was like 11 bags. That's some UK slang. 11,000 dollars basically, and it just shot up to like 60,000 or so. Alright, and a lot of some people ate very well. They hit the belly. Certain men have gone clear, but it's really changed the tide in the sense of, and this is Apostle went into it. He said that basically, really what I'm gonna do is I'm really just adding to what he said, because he said the main point being that how can I word it? A lot of people now seeing that Bitcoin made this much money, so a lot of people are now jumping on the wave and saying, yo, I'm gonna throw my little 2 cents in and try and get my return on this or whatever. Like, and he mentioned, I believe he said, if someone's got like 70K sitting there, they're gonna throw their money into it. But you have that, and like little podcasts I listen to of like Jake over here in the UK, they're saying that they invested in Bitcoin, and they also said they've invested in different ones that no one here knows about, Ethereum. Some of them more, even I got certain people, like a Jake I know, he told me about it, and he was talking about the whole blockchain and the system they use. I'm not too familiar with the intricacies of it, but he was saying certain things as to why he invested in it himself and the investments he's got. But as Apostle said, people are throwing money, and they've been for the longest time, the Robin Hood thing. I even think that was kind of a whole shill, because it's like now that's got people really into like, and he had where is Ja? Ja Rule basically come out and basically say that we should have held our money in there, all right, and basically what that's doing is that it's making everyone now financially literate, which is of necessity, because it's great for them to establish the RFID chip being the mark of the beast, because you have people getting into investing in the stock market, people getting into investing in cryptocurrency, all right, and also as I've been mentioning in most of my videos, um, the the extermination of cash. Oh, that even reminds me, and that's the spirit actually, because I my card, my debit card basically is just mash up. Like it was gonna be replaced um, later this year, but basically it's so messed up that I just been using on the app because there's no cash anyway. It's like no one's really taking cash. I just got used to paying contactless with my phone. So basically, in saying that, what I mean is that paying contactless basically utilizing contactless payments. So it's lucky in my mind and my thoughts. I'm still getting 20 thoughts at once. I'm trying to organize them and just say the point. Okay, so using contactless. So if anytime I need cash, I get emergency cash out. So as I was organizing getting a new card sent to me, basically the guy, when I was speaking to him, I said, "Look, can you extend the amount of money I could take on emergency?" He said, "Look, I would love to try, but they're looking to actually lower it down." So it went from 100 odd that I could take out on that night when I spoke to them. The next day when I went there, they only allow me to take out about 30, 20 or £30 basically. All right. So basically, they're making it as to where the use of any way, any angle they can kind of utilize to regulate utilizing cash machines. They're basically doing so because they want everything on the platform of what of cash base of a cashless society. All right, so they can monitor all your payments and all your movements. Right, even in saying that, before that whole emergency cash thing, you could go to the nearest cash point, but then they changed it to only branches cash points. So if there's my actual bank's branch, there's like one in my area, and the other one I gotta walk like bloody like half an hour, 40 minutes. Maybe jump on a bus, it take 10 minutes. Alright, so it's a out drive. So it's a long ass journey basically just to get that cash. Alright, but they did that by design. Okay, so where everything the way it's looking is that they're moving towards that system. All right. So back on the point, let me read this article because I went off on one. Yellen came out in favor of boosting corporate taxes and said she was also open to raising capital gains taxes during a Monday conference hosted by the New York Times. Yellen said that the Biden administration would boost the corporate tax rate to 28% to help pay for Biden's planned longer-term economic reconstruction program. Such a hike in corporate taxes would immediately trigger profit taking in financial assets that have benefited from a low corporate tax rate, the one that, according to CNBC, was being priced in at least once a day for several entire years during the Trump administration. Despite this, she claimed that the Biden administration was not yet favored a wealth tax, news that will likely trigger AOC, Ilhan Omar, Elizabeth Warren, and like a wealth tax has been discussed. But this is not something President Biden, Yellen, said on Monday. Right. She also said a higher capital gains tax was worth considering. One would have to examine closely what effect it would have. She noted, referring to such a tax's effect on ordinary investors. As Bloomberg notes, on one of the big challenges for the market will be any changes in tax policy towards a less friendly regime. As we discussed late on Sunday, a Tobin tax has been mentioned by the i.e. a HFT transaction tax has been mentioned by the White House, although it will quickly die a quiet death as it would lead to market-wide crash as a HFT liquidate moneymakers revolt Incidentally, a hike to this capital gains tax could also lead to profit taking on a host of assets if there's a window to lock in the lower rate. Right, I want to skip through all of these because it's that financial jargon. But this is the point. Perhaps most notably was Yellen's reaffirmation that it makes sense for the Fed to look into the idea of a digital dollar. Comments that potentially played a role in Bitcoin's early morning sell-off, which briefly saw the cryptocurrency crash 50% and fall under 50,000. Right? So, okay, her saying that shows you that anyone that knows about investing, Bitcoin is something very volatile to invest in because although they say the buying factor is that it's not backed by no central bank and all these kind of things, no one knows who made it, and they don't, and there's no real, there's nothing really binding in terms of that. One Bitcoin's gonna stay 50,000 forever, all right, and it shows you really how volatile it is at the moment of there being mention of a digital dollar, all right, moving towards digital currency, all right. Price has since risen back to 50,000, despite additional comments from Yellen that Bitcoin was inefficient. In a tangent, Yellen said that she hadn't anticipated an offer by Biden to become Treasury Secretary at a time when she found she was focusing on giving out $250,000 speeches to Citadel Research while working at Brookings Institution, noting that the round-the-clock stress of a job like helming the Treasury. The former Federal Reserve Chair said, "I was initially hesitant to get back into it." Biden then made the case how she could be helpful, Yellen said. Finally, in confirming the yield curve control, it's coming one way or another. The only question is whether before or after 2% or 10%. Alright, so the main point being that she mentioned the Fed should look into the idea of a digital dollar, and and the fact that her just saying that took Bitcoin, 15 people, like everyone started selling off to where 50% was found to, as the damage being done. Alright, so basically this is on the cards, alright, that they're really gonna move towards a digital currency, alright, and they have to because that's gonna be the foundation as to where the RFID chip, which they want to implant in the bodies of the people, alright, is basically gonna be able to be utilized. So let me read this very quickly and I'll close out on this. So this is Revelations 13 and 15, and verse 16. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right? If you don't have that mark, you ain't gonna be able to buy and sell. But the way you utilize that mark would be through digital currency. Alright, the same tech found in the RFID chip, NFC, is what is utilized for in the banking industry for contactless payment. So with that, man, I pray you're edified.